people who's pressing the right buttons the right time or anything. I think he's more just like playing classic, playing classic. Right? There's a difference here. Gaming, who's gaming, right? It's just very social animal. And if you can see it, you see it. If you can't, you just can't. Like some people can't see it. There's a massive difference there as well. Absolutely, especially.
Hello. Hello there. Just waiting for Andy to join. Hello. We're just waiting for Andy to join from the gates. Oh, here he is. Hello, Andy, you're muted. You're muted.
In order to protect you. If, Tom, can I use you as an example? If you feel a hand pushing you closer to the gates, don't be missing on Mrs. Independent.
Jackie, can you hear me?
Yes, and we can see you.
What's that one there?
Oh,
Oh, great. Okay, got it
That's
worked
it.
out. It's working.
Fabulous, thank you.
As true anarchists, we collectively consent to accept total discipline from the Goose samurai, hereby embodying the great contradiction of life. And with that in mind, let's begin. I should say hello. My name's John Constable. I'm a writer. I'm also known as John Crow. I'm largely responsible, or I'm initially responsible for all of this that's happening. But simply to say, with so much love and energy and creativity from so many people, many of whom are here today. And so let's all honor ourselves today. This is the Crossbones Vigil. Spirits of the living, kindred, welcome to this, the 266th consecutive Crossbones Vigil for the outcast, dead and alive. So for the last 26 and a bit years, no, last 22 and a bit years, a lot of numerology gonna happen here. At exactly this time, 7 o'clock, on the 23rd of every single month since June 2004, we've stood here and performed this ritual, which has gradually evolved, but really has found its own form. And the extraordinary thing about a vigil or about a ritual is if you do the same thing, especially at the same time in a very conscious way, and you keep doing that, it becomes alive in a sense. And then it's kind of does us in the most beautiful way, because it is really about feeling connection. And that's why we come to these gates, to make the connection between the dead and the living, not as some sort of morbid activity, quite the opposite. There is much grief in this place and horror, but those of us who've worked here for many years have learnt that this is a place of transformation and healing, and so we've come to celebrate it. That's why we're here today. For those of you who are new to this place, I'd like to just share briefly the history. So, Crossbones historically is a pauper's graveyard, and it dates back at least to the mid-17th century. It was for an area that was very lawless, very poor, disease-ridden, overcrowded slums, rookeries, criminal ghettos, really. This street, Red Cross Way, was a place where policemen said they didn't like to come, at least not singly. So this was a lawless area. And the legend of this area, which is also deeply interwoven with historical truth, is that this was the single women's churchyard, the final resting place for the Winchester geese. And these were women who worked in brothels owned by the church and received their license from the Bishop of Winchester and became known as the Winchester geese. Possibly Shakespeare is the first person to use that term. He uses it at least twice or perhaps 3 times in his plays. How was this that the church, the supposedly most sacred part of society, came to license what was considered the most profane? And what do we learn from this? Well, the liberty of the clink was an area outside the law of the City of London. The concept of a liberty is as old as cities. Basically, you need a place where people can let their hair down, especially when over in the city, for much of its history, the moral law was very strict. They disapproved certainly of drinking and gambling, let alone the world's oldest profession, and also theatre. And actors and whores were seen in the mindset of the 16th century as natural bedfellows, which is why they put them here on the South Bank. So it's why Shakespeare's theatre is effectively born in a red light district. This was not the world that we are often told about with Shakespeare. The idea that he wanders in Oxford or Cambridge studying obscure texts. This is a port city with bear baiting and brothels and taverns and theatres, seen very much as part of this whole experience. That was closed down under Oliver Cromwell. It became a pauper's graveyard. It closed in 1863. They said it was completely overcharged with dead. It was a health hazard. And it was forgotten, seemingly. The history seemingly just went underground because I came across no record of it. I moved to the borough in 1986. And in the first 10 years I lived here, I never heard any mention of Crossbones graveyard. On the night of the 23rd November, 1996, I had a vision of the Goose, an entity that came to me, made her presence known extremely powerfully in a way that I could not resist. And I had no choice but to work with her. And she'd come for what I guess is my kind of alter ego, a kind of shamanic persona that protects John Constable, the writer. She came for John Crow, because that night, John Constable, the writer, was trying to write something, in fact, what would turn into the Southwark Mysteries. It was all planned, except none of it then happened the way it was planned to happen. I thought I was a writer who was going to write my masterpiece. And instead, I ended up channeling the spirit, is the only way to really describe it, or receiving a transmission from the Goose. And in this transmission, she revealed her secret history. And to sort of prove her point, I now think, in the middle of that night, she led me on a long spiral walk around the Bankside, the old Bankside, visiting the site of the Tabard, where Chaucer and the Pilgrims leave for Canterbury, to Southwark Cathedral, formerly the Church of St. Mary Overy, and down Clink Street, past Winchester Palace, the Bishop of Winchester's Palace, past the Clink Prison, on to Bankside with the theatres, the Globe, the Swan, the Rose, and then in this big spiral, down to the bottom of this street, Red Cross Way, started leading me up here. And I can only describe this as a totally numinous experience. The feeling was I was walking in eternity with the Goose as my guide. And as we came up, seeing this arch in the distance, it was like coming face to face with a destiny I honestly did not understand. I mean, I was quite scared, as you can imagine. But here at the gates, the Goose sing a song. For tonight in hell, they are tolling the bell for the whore that lay at the Tabard. And well we know how the carrion crow does feast in our Crossbones graveyard. The first time I'd ever heard those words. And I woke up in the morning, I'd written this epic poem that I didn't fully understand. And I tried researching it in the local studies library. And there I came across a reference to Crossbones and the single women's graveyard. The idea that these women, though licensed by the church, were denied Christian burial. Remembering that in that time, that was a sentence beyond this life. It was being literally condemned to hell. So this is a deeply wounded place. And my experience that night, I, of course, was very aware of that. But the Goose had other ideas. People have said to me, because, oh, I should say something more about this. Not only did I discover that this was a real place, this really was perhaps a graveyard for medieval sex workers who were denied the final rights of a church that nevertheless profited from them. But during work on the Jubilee Line extension, the whole eastern part of the graveyard had been dug up. And that's what you see over there is the Jubilee Line extension electricity substation. So that's great electromagnets, as I understand, implanted into a graveyard. So when people say, wasn't it weird that you got haunted? I say, not really, because that's what they were doing here. And so what happened was the plan originally was to develop the site, but partly because of this vision, because it inspired other people, because they brought their creativity here, because we turned out to be an extraordinarily diverse group of contemporary outlaws, we actually persuaded the owners, Transport for London, to guarantee the site. That was quite an achievement because it was valued at £25 million for development. So to us, this is a manifestation, a demonstration that there is something real with what we do here at this gate. Because as I say, over these, what is now 30 years that I've been personally involved, it's 22 years going into the 23rd year that many of you have been involved in different ways. This has become a place of connectedness in the inner city, a place of healing and transformation. And so it's a delight for me to be back here. I completed my official work at Crossbones because the number 23 is so important in this work. So I completed it 23 years to the night. I did my last official vigil on the 23rd of November 2019. So if you want to blame somebody for COVID, Probably not. Perhaps the healing, I hope, that we still so badly need. And for these last years, Jennifer, who's behind you there, Jennifer has been holding this space with great fortitude and strength, and many other friends of Crossbones are contributing constantly to this strange project in which we give of ourselves, in a sense, to the dead. But those of us who can see what we're doing, us, know we're not doing it just for the dead. We're doing it above all for ourselves, for the living, and perhaps even for the unborn. So let's start our simple rituals. All of our rituals, of course, are designed for all faiths and none. You don't have to buy into a belief system. Everybody's welcome to believe in the goose. Many of you do, and in your own ways, she works for you. That's all it's about. Somebody said, are you a cult? And the answer is yes. But in the words of the liberty, you are free to come and go as you choose. If every cult would only follow that maxim, the world would be a much better place. Would you hold the light for us? Thank you. But of course, we're each holding the light in our hearts. We are the sparks in the dark. You know, just for a moment, consciousness flares in each of us into a different perception of what's happening. And whatever you want to call that, you can call that God or Goddess. You know, that the unity of existence, of consciousness, because it's clearly, even me talking to you now, it's so obvious in a way, isn't it? That it's not like my voice here and you're there. I mean, where is the voice? It's happening somewhere in this amazing space, and we're in a back street in a city, and yet this is also a sacred place. If we can live with these wonderful contradictions, this is what we celebrate here. With simple rituals. Our first ritual is to hold the light. So let's all just imagine that light in our hearts and filling our bodies with this beautiful light, gentle light. Our bodies becoming so full that the light starts to overspill, to leak out of them. And as it does so, it mingles with all the light flowing out of the other bodies standing here. So in this very simple way, we are in a kind of communion of consciousness. And for now, for a minute, we're just going to stand in silence in a state of shining emptiness in which the sounds of the city, that train, the traffic, passers-by, all of this can arise and vanish without trace. all this, the airplanes, the sirens, and us here in our shining emptiness, completely able to let it all just wash around and through, you know, the sounds of the city. If we make it this our place, we give ourselves a different place to look at the world from the Crossbones portal. And our second vigil is an act of really unconditional blessing, which is what this work is really about. Mutual forgiveness, wishing for each other what we want for ourselves, what we most want for ourselves, understanding that we all want something slightly different, and that's good too. So wish for people what they'd wish for themselves. And so that's what we do with this. It's like we tie ribbons to the gate or offerings of our own. And as we do it, we give something of ourselves away. That can include giving away like negative aspects of ourselves that we want to transform as well, releasing them at the gate, because the goose is an agent of transformation. And of course, our blessings that we'd wish for ourselves to release into the world, the things we want to happen in our lives, and that we'd want to happen in their own ways in the lives of our friends and family. So we're going to tie these ribbons. Have you got some ribbons, Jen? Oh, I think, oh, look at them here on the neck of the goose. So Jen, really, it's like, if you want to, you're always welcome to bring your own offerings, totemic offerings, and tie them to the gates, either during a vigil or at any time. But we found at the vigil, or Jen noticed at the vigil, sometimes people look sad because they'd forgotten to bring something. And Jen, being a basically good-hearted person, decided to bring ribbons. Please accept a ribbon. If you've got your own, that's beautiful too.
This is my giveaway for you to make your own giveaway.
He has a question. That's a
Oh, John, while I'm giving it,
Yeah.
ask John.
So in terms of something to change, does it have to be something to change about myself or something that I want to change about the world? What can I change?
It's a good question. Where do you stop and the world begin? Because, of course, I cannot change many things, political, huge things that worry us all. I feel helpless. I come to a place like this, it makes me feel stronger because I'm with other human beings, and change can be very small. It can be letting in a possibility, perhaps, for ourselves.
Thank you.
Somebody's not covering it.
Anybody not got one? I think we're all happy, Jeff. No, I think even Andy's got one.
Andy's got one now. I've got a virtual one.
Oh, your virtual ones.
With my virtual one.
Yeah, watch out for them. Okay, we're all set to go. Or you can have one. A real one. You have your own real one, Jen.
Anybody else all got one?
But yeah, if you ever find yourself short, as I always say in a ritual, you know, rather than suddenly getting panicky because somebody left the ribbons, just use virtual ribbons. I mean, it is all about intention, isn't it, really? And I think, to me, what Crossbones is about is it's just a chance to reimagine the world. It doesn't mean, it's not like a belief system. So you can believe what else you want, really. But it's that thing that when we come here, we're a bit different. We're in this space with the goose and she looks after us. So with that in mind, we're going to tie our ribbons and say these verses, which are from the Southwark Mysteries. And we always say them as what we call an echo. So it's not like call and response, which is often quite, well, it's in your own time, and fragments as you like. You don't have to say it all, but just let's get into it as however you like. And I'll lead. Jen and Katie and people who know it Susanna will be coming in. So you'll hear it too. Please join in. We're going to do this 5 times like this. Here lay your hearts,
Here lay your
your
hearts, your
flowers,
flowers,
your book of
your
hours,
your
your
fingers, your
fingers, your
thumbs,
thumbs,
your
your
misty
missy
mums.
mums.
Here hang
Here
your
hang
hopes,
your
your
hopes, your
dreams,
dreams,
your might
your
have
might have
been,
been,
your
your
locks, your
locks,
keys,
your keys,
your
your
mysteries.
mysteries.
Here lay
You
your
lay your
hearts,
heart,
your
your
flowers,
flowers,
book of
your book of
hours, your
hours, your
fingers, your
fingers,
thumbs,
your mums,
your mishy
missy
mums.
mums.
Here hang your
Here hang your
hopes, your
hopes, your
dreams, your might
dreams,
have
your might
been,
have been,
your locks,
your
your
locks, your
keys,
keys,
your
your
mysteries.
mysteries.
Here lay your
Here lay your
hearts, your
hearts, your
flowers, your book of
flowers, your book
hours,
of hours,
your fingers, your
your
thumbs, your
thumbs,
mishy
your
mums.
missy mums.
Here hang your
Hang your
hopes, your
hopes, your
dreams, your
dreams, your
might
might
have
have
beens,
beens,
your
your
locks, your
locks, your
keys,
keys,
your
your
mysteries.
mysteries.
Here lay your
Hang your
hearts, your
hopes,
flowers, your book of
your book of
hours,
hours,
your
your
fingers, your
fingers, your
thumbs, your
thumbs,
mishy
your missy
mums.
mums.
Here hang your
Hang your
hopes, your
hopes, your
dreams, your
dreams,
might
your
have
might have
beens,
beens,
your
your
locks, your
locks, your
keys, your
keys, your
mysteries.
mysteries.
Here lay your
Hang your
hearts, your
hopes, your
flowers, your book of
flowers, your book of
hours,
hours,
your fingers, your thumbs, your mishy
missy
mums.
mums.
Here hang your
Hang
hopes,
your
your
hopes, your
dreams, your
dreams,
might
your
have
might
beens,
have beens,
your locks, your
your
keys, your
keys, your
mysteries.
mysteries. Here lay your hearts, your flowers, your book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your missy mums. Yeah, hang your hopes. Your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries. Speak to me. So we've taken part already in a collective act, really very simple thing, giving ourselves away to each other, really, which is what life is all about. And this next part of our ritual observances is our offerings. So it's not like Crossbones open mic exactly, but if you have got a poem, a song, a personal testimony, something that in some way relates to what's happening here, to like that idea of shared humanity, I suppose, is really what we're about. And we've had all kinds of testimony here. We've had brave sex workers standing up and setting us straight about what it's all about. And that we have different versions from different people. That is part of Crossbones. There isn't a right and a wrong version. We've had sex workers who have completely abused children and addicts, and we've had completely empowered women and men from that industry. And what we've learned from that, I think, is everybody's story is unique. And that's why this isn't a place of judgment, because nobody knows really who's got the path. So this is our offerings. And we obviously, the whole way this work unfolded in me, I think work unfolds in anyone, depending on what you've done already. You know, so I was a playwright and poet, and that's how it came through me. But many other people already have been touched by the Goose in different ways. So there isn't one way. But for me, there is. It's poetry. And so I'm going to open with a poem from the Southwark Mysteries. And I will close with that too. And I know Jen is going to do something from the Southwark Mysteries. But I hope that some of you, I see Annabelle already with her paper in hand, and I suspect Drew may have something, and others. Jen's pointing. No, a point, please.
I'm not sure if she wants to do it, but there is a lady here. She feels she should speak.
I would love that too. Yeah, it is very open tonight.
And John.
Yes, of course, John Smallshaw. And thank you. You've just reminded me, of course, this is not only our 266th vigil, this is also our Isis Magdalene festival. Now, the Isis and the Magdalene, this is a deep subject. And some of us feel there's a bit of a danger, maybe the new age is conflating them so much that we don't know what we're dealing with. And some of us quite like that Isis is one stream and the Magdalene is the other. We're very fortunate at Crossbones because the Goose is our channel and she does channel them as distinct entities. And that, well, keeps peace in heaven, which is what we all want, and on earth below. And so with this in mind, I'm going to kick off this section of offering. So if you're thinking of something, do by all means consider stepping forward. Hello there. Lovely to see you. The Book of the Crow. There's a bridge of stone and a bridge of iron. Gird the dock of St. Mary Overy. There's a Southwark goose with a crow let loose in the heart of the ancient liberty. Let him down by the clink through the sweat and the stink of a stew to a bankside oratory. And they saw the tide turn, and they saw London burn, saw it rise from the ashes of history. And then she led John Crow to the river below, and her look was wanton and wild, and he saw through the grime and the ruin of time, the face of the child, eternity. And then she gave him a look that by hook or by crook she would make him her man. Brother man, quoth she, come, heal thy sickness, cleanse thy voice, and I'll have you to sing of my mystery. Come drain me marsh and tan me hide. Come immigrant and refugee. Come brew me beer and wool be dyed in the making of the liberty. Come lock and stock to Overy dock from Flanders, France and Italy. Come moles and dolls and foldy rolls, a taking of the liberty. Come heretic, outlaw, Jack Crow and Jack Daw, here shall you all find sanctuary, where the actors and whores and the keepers of doors that open into the liberty. In the church pews and stews, they whisper the news, the ghost of an old goose's heresy, that the Magdalene whore a love child bore to the dancing lord of the liberty. And I was in that Magdalene whore who walked the streets of Bermondsey. I traded hard in every yard to keep the child at liberty. Come, trickster, shaman, prophet and fool, speaking in tongues of the mystery. Let all men contend, but God defend the lineaments of my liberty. Come snake and whistle and rattle and drum. Come open me cavern in jubilee. Come open me tomb to crackle and boom, and let the bells ring in the liberty. Come Christian and Jew, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, let each to his own true divinity. Let even the blind material mind walk his own hallowed path at liberty, and seek not to bind visions you find in naming the parts of the mystery. In naming the part, don't miss the heart of my holy liberty. Though you trick me up as virgin or whore and make me debase right bestially, I am the dancing child, the door that opens into eternity. Thank you. Yeah, you are allowed to clap. Me, but the goose, really. It was the goose's work, really. And all our work is only partly ours. And it partly comes from these mysterious places. So it'd be lovely to have some folk share it. And look, you're already waving. Would you like to come? Is it Shriya? Yeah, thought it was you. Haven't seen you for a while. Hello, Shriya. Welcome back.
Thank you. I've been away because my mom was very ill, and she survived her illness, which we weren't sure she would. Um, but although my mother survived, my best friend's older sister didn't. She died very suddenly. She was 42, and she was an astounding woman. She's left behind two little daughters, and we're looking after them as best we can. But this is a poem for my mother, Ela, who lived, and my sister, Sudeshna, who didn't. This is a poet called Kim Moore. This poem is called Motherhood as Refuge. In the next life, if you're a mouse, I'll be tall grass so you can run unnoticed. Or if you're a brown rat, I'll be a garden shed that you can burrow under. If you're a seabird, I'll be an island you can nest on. If you're a fish, I'll come out in colors as a coral reef. If you're a spider, I'll be a brick wall with a creep hole for you to hide in. Or if in another life you find yourself to be a bat, I'll be the dark you need to hunt in. I'll be the barn you need to roost in, or maybe you'll find that you've come back as a rarity, a Walney geranium that grows only in one place, in all the world. Then wait for me. I'll be that place. I'll turn myself into Walney Island, a strip and spit of land the gray seals can haul themselves upon. And if you become a buff-tailed bumblebee, I'll be the compost heap you sleep in. And even if you come back as something darker, something harder, a tumor perhaps, maybe you need a body to live inside. I will give you mine. Here is my bowel. It will keep you safe from harm. I'll put myself to the bottom of every waiting list. Turn down the operation. This was the bargain, the promise I made. My life as refuge, my life as harbor, my life for yours each time. Thank you.
Thank you, Shriya. Anna, what's you standing there? Please come share.
Hecate, Hecate lustrates the night with juniper. Soteria, Saviour, shifts 3 ways to see us home. I shiver at the crossroads. Pub signs creak. Sodium torches stain me saffron, turn broken glass into stars. I reach for the moon, a pearl, fruit of infinite irritation which dominates our bitter world. Mist undulates like camels up the street. Only seekers are still out, wanting something sharp as dog barks. Soft as ghosts glittering in the gutter, I find a key.
Thank you, Annabelle. As I say, we're now into our 23rd year of vigils, so we have people who've been with us, like Jen, a whole part of the journey, 15, 20 years. And then we have people who come and some people go and then come back. And one of those is John Smallshaw, who's just an amazing character.
You're out of prison. No, I'm on a job.
We know. John Smallshaw is, well, will you introduce yourself?
No. No, I've got you on stage.
Okay. John.
It's got to talk nice about it now.
Well,
No, you haven't.
John was working with people on the streets, really. And in many ways, he was trusted because he was one of them.
Yes, absolutely.
And he came to Crossbones and he recognised what this is about.
I do.
That's all I have to say in it, really.
Well, I thank you
And
very
that
much.
we have a mutual friend, Grant, the late Grant, who, if you visit our website, crossbones.org.uk, it's thanks to Grant Burford that website exists.
It is. And recently I was at Grant's father's funeral, which was also really sad. I was hoping Terry, his wife, would be here tonight, but she's not up to it at the moment. Place to give, place to take from, what you will. And I write quite a bit of rubbish. I write some good stuff as well. And I wrote this a while ago, but not bad. And it's called When We Never Knew How Good It Could Be. History, which has been made even as I speak, only skims across the surface of those who labour for a living and then go to war. And if not for dying, we would never know them at all. Camaraderie, dear to me, that bonhomie which we feel but seldom see. Yes, we're all soldiers in some army or another, all fighting for free air, all wanting to be the one soldier on. And as we get older, sometimes our wits become duller, colours dimmer, neither dimmer. Frames of mind underlined in red. Don't let them think you're dead. There's too much living for parents. And thank you, John. Yes.
Anybody feeling moved to sing it? Oh, yeah.
Oh, not to sing.
Not
A poem.
A poem, yeah. But just checking if anybody wants to sing yet. Yeah, you want to sing? Got to sing first. Sing it, go.
Not to sing, but hello, sorry, I've got my interpreter voicing over. I'm deaf. I can't sing. It would be painful to all of your ears. So I'm going to use BSL poetry. So really, I want to let you all know some interesting information. So this area, Bermondsey, my family through generations, I think 8 or 9 generations, have lived in Bermondsey. I'm from Bermondsey. So I remember this from when I was small. It was such a poor and deprived area. It was the deepest of poverty. And my family, we worked hard. 5 generations of life have been here. So as soon as people turned 16, that's when they were giving birth, and we have 5 generations here. And I had a child when I was 19. So we had 5 generations that were still alive. My great-grandmother, I remember her when I was small. And it was such a rough area, but it was full of people with a good heart. And my family, before them, I know that there were sex workers here. They had that here, of course, but there was no shame. Because back in that time, the women that lived here, they looked after their families. Even without money, they had to go and earn a keep somehow. Right up until the 1940s, 1950s, because the American soldiers, they came over here during the war And Bermondsey, they knew that they could pay for such lives in Bermondsey, for the women here, my grandmother included. And she met my great-great-grandmother, sorry, she met a soldier. She needed money. And men knew that they had two jobs. They worked in the dock or they worked in a factory. But then later on, there was the change and there was the biscuit factory. But it was all on the same street and all the people on the same road had the same job. There was no tiers in society, no people looking down on each other. Everybody worked the same, everybody had the same income, and everybody was happy. There were, of course, disputes and disagreements, but at Christmas, everybody got together. Everybody went into everybody's houses, and it was one collective big Christmas. People were drunk, people were waking people up that weren't living from here, but that was normal, and that was life, and it was a strong community. So we moved away as I got older, but wow, there was such an astronomical change. And now, I think in the past 20 years, the people here, it's changed, it's gone. But I don't know if you know the phrase, I don't know who lives local, but proper Bermondsey. Who knows proper Bermondsey? I feel like that's gone. I feel like now the wealth has really met the area. You know proper Bermondsey, lovely. But people from here, they seem to have dispersed. But in terms of buying a flat here now, a studio flat, you're looking at 350,000. But this was the poorest of the poor of London. And my family are from Rotherhithe, the poorer part of Bermondsey. It was such a deprived area. But I came with my brother recently to look at my grandmother's old flat. And it was for sale and it was so expensive. And I just feel like, wow, but I just wanted to share a little bit of history. So thank you. And it's lovely to meet you all.
What's your name?
My name is Johnny. Johnny Nelson.
Johnny John. Magnificent. So good to hear. Right from the heart. I lived in the borough from 1986 until 2019, just down the road. It was very different.
Absolutely.
And a real community that has been broken up in many ways by money.
And there's a pub on every corner. No. And the parents every half an hour to take it in turns to check on all the kids. Nobody was at home. That's
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one reason to meet like this is just to meet, you know, not all to be sitting at home just communicating only via a medium, you know, but actually be able to look at people. And it's how we build trust as well, isn't it? We stand together and we talk about difficult things, and that's what it's about. You had a poem. What's your name?
Luca.
Luca.
So this is a poem, a prayer I wrote to my God. And it talks about a friend of mine that was like a son for me. And I am praying to start loving loss as much as I love presence. I hear your name at night, whispering at first, while sleep slips through my eyes. Pairava, oh Pairava. Terror and awe deliver me from fear. This body is frail, suspended on this web of nothingness. My life is meaningless, suspended on the net of nothingness. Cut my head of pride with your trident, remove my heart of egotism with your knife, and let the dogs of liberation devour my soul. So I could get into the eternal night, dead while living, living while dead. Because the whispering flower sings of life in the same way as the blooming baby cries of joy. No death, no life, no time, no space. For her freedom, who perennially creates, for the benefit of all beings. Shiva Prakasha, with a heavy heart, begs you, O Bhairava, please show me my mother.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
I wondered if anyone felt like dancing.
As long as it doesn't set the dog
It may well.
crazy.
It may well. Might have to bring him into dance. I just came back last week from New York, where I was visiting my friend for her 100th birthday. And I'm bringing this offering because we celebrated her, we saw her, she had a big exhibition of her paintings, a retrospective from 1942 to just a few years ago, all of her life's work. And then I came home and she died. And it was right, it was time, she was ready. She had a much younger husband who she'd met when he was 17 and he was her high school student. He's now 71. They've been together for 53 years. So I'm just bringing this offering for Jenny Tango and her life, her wonderful life. She was born in 1926, sorry, obviously. She was Jewish, and she lived in a time that was shadowed, of course, by the Nazis and the persecution that many Jewish people faced, but also that shadow. When I was there, I went to Ellis Island, and they had an exhibition about immigration, and it talked about all the things that drove people to America, what they were escaping, and one of those things, which would have been in quite recent memory to her family, was the pogroms of 1905, which I read about and heard about, where Jewish people were randomly killed and the shtetls were raided on a regular basis. And so that fleeing of persecution. So I know that we here are honoring the outcasts, and many of the outcasts we've sometimes discovered or felt our own persecution, not perhaps to that degree, but I just want to honor, that what you carry with you in your bodies and your minds from your own family's history and the persecution that they experienced. And just, I want to send that out and disperse it. Yeah, get rid of it. And so, when I was there, we did a dance from the shtetls. So if anybody'd like to come and just hold like this. You've got a klezmer back. Keep up. Okay, so this is the only song I know. Right, Still out. Still out. Steps are 1, 2, back, forward, back. 1, 2, forward, back. 1, 2, forward, back. 1, 2, forward, back. 1, 2, high. On me throw high. On me throw high. Let me fly down. Let me fly free.
Well, thank you. As we do our dance on the edge of chaos, I think it's probably true. You're ready to go.
Hey,
I believe I am. I believe I am.
see.
So, wow. I might get that book, but you can get this. I get the website.
There's a bookshop, yeah, there's a bookshop on Birmingham Square. Birmingham Square.
Okay.
Oh, that's you. I think it's only one off.
I know, but I'm not. Yeah, you go first.
One off.
Yeah, you go first then.
Sorry, folks, bit hard this one. Need something like after afterwards. So thank you for that, gentlemen, for agreeing. Red Cross Mary is crying today. Crying for the children discovered at the St Mary Mother and Baby Home in Tuam, County Galway in Ireland. Yesterday, on the feast day of Mary Magdalene, surely no coincidence, the bones of 22 more infant remains were found, bringing a total of 99 bodies found so far. The place they found them in is marked on the map as a septic tank. They were buried in coffins, but at some stage in that home, this was a septic tank. Back in 2014, a local historian by the name of Catherine Corliss was convinced there had been a cover-up of children's deaths in the area and started to trace 796 death certificates, children and babies who died there, but no burial certificates existed. Sounds familiar? Between 1925 and 1961, the St Mary Mother and Baby Home in Tuam was run by the Catholic nuns of the Bon Secours Sisters. Is that on my head?
Yes.
Good. Right, hello. The Bon Secours Sisters. The daughter of one of the unmarried mums who was interviewed on the CV last night, who had her first child taken away when she was a teenager, remembered her mum telling her a nun came in after she'd just given birth, saying, "The child of your sin is dead. You can go." The mum was then thrown out of the home onto the street. She never recovered from that tragedy, despite having other children. A DNA test have so far revealed young children's remains and that of fetuses of 35 weeks old and upwards. Estimates are that 2 children a week died in that home, far in excess of any high mortality rate of the area or anywhere else in the general population of that time. There's a growing suspicion that when they excavate the already known memorial garden, like this garden here, there's a memorial garden where they know it's a memorial to the children. I think they might find the rest of these 796 missing children and babies. There's also a growing suspicion that more than neglect was involved, resulting in the malnutrition. They found malnutrition in all of these bones. Sheer numbers of dead children suggest something more unspeakable happened there, something more active, and if you believe in it, perhaps truly evil. I hope to excavate the remaining bodies by 2027. The Bon Secours nuns have issued a statement acknowledging that the children were buried in a disrespectful and unacceptable way and apologised, recognising it fell short of Christian standards. Sounds familiar again. Only last week here at the Blessings and Bards, Jen went to that. The church and the clergy from Southwark Cathedral down the road performed the annual ceremony of regret, remembrance and restoration. The church's addition here of how paupers, female sex workers and their children were neglected by the church are being buried in the unconsecrated ground behind us all those years ago. And yet in Ireland, the same thing happened in our lifetimes. Another monstrosity, and that's pure evil. Believe in evil by those Catholic nuns. Who knows how many more such atrocities were committed as yet unfound? All in the supposed name of God were committed. I don't know. Maybe it's repression of natural sex. I don't know. It just seems really evil. I hope in some way the blessed ceremonies at this place, like tonight, will serve to be a future inspiration to the authorities in County Galway. Maybe Southwark can reach out to them and offer them advice and passionate help on the end. about how to eventually start the healing process. They've got a long way to go. They've not even started it, really. I was going to ask tonight if, when we were tying the ribbons on there, if we could remember those children. But all I can say is the next time any of you come down here, if you could spare a thought for these poor souls. Anyway, never again, hopefully. I wonder if someone at that mother and baby home been shown its secrets by someone like the Goose that night, as they did with our own John Pro. What might that person have been told? Maybe it would have been something like, or tonight in hell, they are tolling the bell for the nuns of Bon Secours. Well, we know how those nuns did feast on the souls of those innocent children and babes in arms in the St Mary mother and baby home. Maybe a special place should be reserved in hell for such people. Believe in that. Sorry. Well, it's up to you, Jenny.
No, Jen, it is, no, I think it is a moment.
Yeah.
Put down. Yeah. Very thanks for that, very moving. So if I'd really known what you were doing, even though we were so very busy, I would have shoved you forward so we could all remember those children. We claim the Winchester geese, even though we're not entirely sure that those women are actually physically buried here. We know they're buried somewhere. The men and the women and the children who were dug up and thrown away when this electricity substation was being built and they were shipping the bodies out, bones out by the lorry load in the 90s. We claim them. The Winchester geese, we claim them. All the thrown away people from this graveyard, we claim them. They are ours. They are honoured. They are loved. They are respected. And I want to talk about one more little kind of outcast person. I adopted my oldest son, Gary, when he was 2. And about 10 years ago, shortly after my husband died, Gary was on the spectrum. He was a very simple, direct person. And he decided that about 10 years ago, that what he wanted to do was wanted to give up being English, give up supporting the English football rugby team, go and live in Aberystwyth and be a Welshman and support Welsh rugby, as well as support Liverpool. So he was always in red. When me and his younger brother went down to visit him, he sat on his sofa, and on every space on the walls and hanging from the windows was the Red Dragon of Wales. And he just sat inside it and loved being there. Sometimes when Gary was poorly and he would go into another world that he couldn't be brought back from without hospitalization and antipsychotic medication, even though he wasn't schizophrenic. When he used to have what I used to call a wobble, he would isolate himself and not speak to anybody. So when he went down to Wales, he started texting family and friends every single day, different family, different friends. He would talk to me about where he was going, to his brother about football, to somebody else about rugby, so on and so forth. 7 years ago, on the 22nd of July, I didn't receive a message. And I knew for surely certain there was something wrong. I assumed he'd gone wonky and whatever would happen. That was encouraged my thinking when I went round to everybody that used to talk to Gary on the WhatsApp. and nobody had heard from him. So by the middle of the 22nd afternoon, I was phoning Aberystwyth police station because this had happened before, things like this had happened before, and they had been very kind. They said to me, he's only been gone less than a day. We can't go breaking his door down and finding out what's the matter with him. So I came to the vigil on July 23rd, and my ribbon was for Gary and his safety and his health. And when I was woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning on the 24th, I thought it was Gary having done whatever he was doing in his mind and just got on the train. It turned out that the police who told me they wouldn't break down his door didn't break down his door. They went and found his landlady and got a key from her and went in quietly and gently. And the knocking on my door was the London police come to tell me that Gary had gone on the 23rd of July. The day after, I cycled down to Crossbones and I was standing by Red Cross Mary on a cloudy day and stood there for a while. And suddenly I felt not a mystical heat. I felt the sun on my head. I looked up and I could see the clouds just parting. The sun hit me on the top of my head, and what went through all of my body was, he is all right. And I think I had about one breath in and out of he is all right. And I cried, I don't want him to be all right. I want him to be here with me. What we practice here, radical acceptance, that's the hardest and most radical accepting I have ever had to do. And it doesn't just happen once. I have to accept every moment. When it breaks me, that's my practice. Andy is filming this because the live vigil and the Zoom vigil are connected this evening. On the other end of Andy's phone is Jackie B. She is my dear friend, my crow sister, and she officiated at Gary's funeral. She actually also officiated at my husband's funeral, and I'm putting money on the fact that she's going to be officiating at my funeral. Thank you, Jackie. When we were at the funeral, wearing Gary's clothes, because if there's one thing he liked was clothes, we were all dressed in red. We were all red from top to toe. And I was wearing one of his favourite T-shirts, You'll Never Walk Alone. And we sang You'll Never Walk Alone. There is no way I'm going to be able to sing that song tonight. A, because I don't think I've got the range, and B, because I really don't want to break down and cry in front of you. But I would like to recite that gorgeous poem. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. My Gary lived his dream. not long enough. He had 3 years of living in his dream. But I consider him fortunate because he had a dream to live. Thank you for listening to me.
Well, Dave. Well, Drew, we've been patient. You didn't seize the time earlier, did you?
Oh, it's fine with that. That's fine.
All right, so Drew, and
So it will be on the screen. Yeah.
best I don't tell you anything about Drew because I've let him manifest.
My name is Drew. I am Crossbones' big gay following. I've contributed a few different things here at previous vigils, but I'm also quite well known by some for my acts of impersonating Boris Johnson, satirizing doing parody songs to satirize and rip the utter piss out of the former mayor of London and former right dishonourable prime minister. But I've had to move on from that, and I've become a new act. I am now fully embracing my an expression of my queerness as the singing pup, and sometimes. Yes. You get excited. Sometimes that means playing with other human pups and with toys. And so here I tell you that my daddy's got no money, no power, and no fame, and he doesn't even have his trombolese, whatever the heck that is. But he does have. He's got me, his pup, and he's got a clump of geese. So this is a parody song I've done in my pup self about that. My daddy's got no money, he's got a clump of geese. My daddy's got no power, he's got a clump of geese. My daddy's got no fame, he's got a clump of geese. My daddy's got no money, he's got a clump of geese. Want more and more. People just want more and more freedom and love. Every pup is looking for. I'm also looking for pets and belly rubs and anyone who knows what the heck a trombolese is. Squeaking the toy goose, chew it up unsatisfied, chasing the feathers. Fox and zoomies magnified, squeaking the toy goose, chew it up unsatisfied, chasing the feathers. Kong 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 kong. Kong 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 kong. Kong 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 kong. Kong 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 kong. My daddy's got no money, he's got a clump of geese. My daddy's got no power, he's got a clump of geese. My daddy's got no fame, he's got a clump of geese. My daddy's got no money, he's got a clump of geese. Want more and more. People just want more and more freedom and love. Every pup is looking for want more and more. People just want more and more. This goose is looking very threatening now. Flee from the gander. Chased by geese, I'm terrified. They bite my pup tail. Ow! Flee from the gander. Chased by geese, I'm terrified. They bite my pup down. Ow! Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. So to finish off, I need a little help from you all. If you're on this side, when you join him in going rough, rough, rough,
And if you're on this side, I want you to join the goose and go, come, come, come. It's, that's what you're going to do instead of going, no, no, no. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Ruff, 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 jump, 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 jump. Ruff, 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 jump, 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 jump. Ruff, 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 jump, 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 jump. Jump, 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 ruff, 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 jump, jump. Thank you very much. I've been singing. You mess with the honk, you get the bonk. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, you don't need to clap at me. Just call me a good boy. Thank you. Oh really? Thank you. Always welcome. And we, of course, we need humour. The sacred and the profane are part of human life, time and eternity. They're not two things. It's all mixed up together. People, so-called prostitutes, had other lives. They were mothers, they were sisters, they were daughters. These people who are buried here, they weren't just victims. They were out living life like we all do as best we can. That's what this is all about. Anyway, and we celebrate them here. And on this day, we pay attention to the goddess Isis. I haven't honoured her with a poem, but she will understand that I only mention her now because we're moving to our closing. And I want to honour Mary Magdalene because yesterday is her official feast day. And Mary Magdalene is an extraordinary character who seems to, in some way, manifest in this work through the goose. Even in Orthodox Christianity, remember, Mary Magdalene is the apostle of the apostles. She's the one who gets to meet the risen Christ, not the boys, not Peter and the rest who go on to make the church. In fact, he's so real to her, he has to tell her not to touch him. You may or may not believe that story, but it is a beautiful story. In Gnostic texts, of course, she's much more than that. She's the special priestess, the one of the apostles who really gets what Jesus is teaching, the higher teachings. Later, the church, of course, made this composite Mary Magdalene, the sinner. And in fact, you see this enormous projection where they're conflating images of a sex worker, a woman who behaves inappropriately by washing Jesus's feet, a woman who possibly suffers from epilepsy or a mental distress, possessed by 7 devils, because that's surely what it meant. People, for centuries, the church has imposed a particular moral view on what came out of this extraordinary moment in the life of Jesus and the life of Mary Magdalene. And that's something we seek to honor here, not in a dogmatic way. We're not an alternative belief system, but we can stand here with Mary Magdalene and honor her as even what the church made her, the sinner. They made something that all of us outcasts can in some way feel empowered by. That's been my experience and the experience of many friends. So with that in mind, I'm going to end the offerings with the last book of the Southwark Mysteries, the Book of the Magdalene. The end of this verse, of these verses, is in Southwark Cathedral, and it was written in 1998, 1999, and it was fulfilled in 2000 when Southwark Cathedral actually opened its doors to let in the goose and the spirit of this sexual energy that was here in Southwark and that was so wounded in this place, Crossbones. I'm going to have a sip of water. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for what you've been doing tonight. That's very beautiful to have this signed. It's very powerful, yeah. The Book of the Magdalene. Oh, come to me, come into me, come take me from the south, come, man of wall, skin blue with woad and strange tongues in thy mouth, from on oak to Camberwell, where cripples dance for joy. Sons of Taliesin, lovely doomed and laughing boy. Click, and we come to the click of a stick and a shaman's drum, by rattle bag of bones, by our old Goose's bones. We walk our crooked path to kingdom come. St. Paul Beta Pan, Sita Beta Ram Jam. Om Mane Padme Hum. Entombed in the shadow of Bedlam, the Imperial Museum of War, in the Garden of Peace, the Winchester geese consort with Kuan Yin and the Magdalene whore. On the steps of Old Guy's leaden tower, in the Elephant and Castle subway, they graffiti her name, she who comes to reclaim the world that was taken away. On the steps of St. George the Martyr, red-eyed and roaring, a bomb did totter and sway and topple and splay and stutter the words, she is, she has come out of Egypt, by Greenwich, upriver, the dogs to her right, along the black beach around Limehouse Reach, with the city of London in sight. In Cathedral, Provost may ponder if he should unbar the great door, with a wink and a nod to the glory of God, in the guise of an unredeemed whore. Let Bishop's Crook offer him counsel, ways and means for the door to unjam. If needs must be seen that the whore be washed clean of her sin in the blood of the Lamb, then let it be so. But then let it go. The guilt and the shame and the sin. Let go of the law that made her a whore. And then, for God's sake, let her in. Let in. Let in. Let no color of skin nor creed debar other from ceremony. Let the gong of Tibet bong out an octet with the bells of St. Mary ovary. Let not the letter of the law deny the spirit liberty, nor burn my book of pictures, which it take for rank idolatry. For I am the mistress, Southwark, am the daughter of eternity, and in me the broken man shall be made whole. As merrily we wend on our pilgrimage, who knows what wonders yet to see, along this winding track of time, on our journey home from Canterbury to Southwark. Well, thank you. Yeah, good, very good, mate. That's not duetting. That's right, mate. You have your moment. Yeah. We all have our moment if we want it. Has anybody feel they haven't had their moment yet? Who wanted it? In that case, let's. Oh yeah.
Say one thing.
Oh, come say your.
Very quick. On the 12th of August, there's a lunar eclipse, 90% lunar eclipse. So keep an eye out for that. So like 6 o'clock at night. I think that's going to be a spiritual experience for everyone. Enjoy.
There you go. Public information and that. We've got the last thing. Oh, you want to do something? You can if you like. Save it for next time. Let's close, shall we? We've been here for all. Yeah, we're going to close. Right, so we're getting to our, this is any ritual, you should open it and close it. Because what happens within the ritual is it's like we enter eternity, for me, and maybe for you, certainly for you. So it is good to mark our return to the world, the world of, some would say the world of illusion, you know, because it's full of all these ideas of what human life is about, which are proving not very sustainable. And here at Crossbones, we try and celebrate our common ground and a vision of humanity. Man, God, and beast communing for one moment in eternity. With this in mind, Jen again is going to step forward. She may not be running this vigil, holding this space, but she's certainly very active, holding the gin. So, Jen the gin. Jen is going to bind us in.
This is good crossbones gin made with rosemary.
Oh, tell us all, Jen.
No, I was only saying.
Please.
Yes. This is a special donation. One of the warden's brothers makes special crossbones gin using the rosemary from the garden. So when I'll be binding us in,
save us a little drop for those who would like.
There will be plenty of spirit members. It's the most exciting thing.
Yes, and so Jen binds us, of course. It's a traditional way of protecting magical works using alcohol. Spirits, like the spirits. Come in closer, everybody, because this is our time to touch the gate. And get inside those lines of death. Please make sure you can touch the gate. If you can't get near the gate, you could touch the person ahead of you. What we're doing is connecting. People used to ask us, why don't you do this inside now? It's here, standing here long before that door. Decided to keep it here because here we are, the living, standing at a portal, and there they are, the dead. And in that understanding, both of our separation, we glimpse the ultimate union of all life, all consciousness, its ultimate connectedness. And so that's what we're doing now. We're tuning in with this unconditional blessing. And the first blessing was received by the medium Shriya, Brazilian great teacher who crossed over a few years ago now, but is always with us. And it's the blessing of the caboclo. The caboclo is it's the spirit of a particular phenomenon, I think, in Brazil, a whole culture of what they often call mestizo culture, which is a mixed heritage culture. And in Brazil, that's incredibly rich, the mixed heritage, because there is the African, the European, the indigenous people, the Spanish. There are all these different cultural mixes that come together, and they produce some very powerful magic. So this is Shriya, a great teacher, and I was fortunate when I was trying to learn how to do this work with the Goose, to visit Shriya and ask for her blessing for this work, which she gave, and permission to translate her Mensagem do Caboclo, the message of the Caboclo, into English. And this one we will do as call and response. And immediately after that, we'll do a very simple Goose blessing, which came straight from the Goose. So, call and response like this. Life.
Life,
Health, happiness,
happiness,
open
open pathways,
Open pathways.
health in the body,
happiness,
open pathways,
body,
health in the body,
in the spirit,
peace in the
Peace in the
spirit,
spirit.
love in the heart,
health in the heart,
health in the
peace
body,
in the
peace
spirit,
in the
body,
spirit,
love in the
love
heart.
in the heart.
It is
in the heart.
this fluid
It is this
is
that we
this that
wish
we wish
for
Our
ourselves,
friends
for
and
for our
ourselves,
family,
friends
for our
and
friends,
family,
for all our brothers and
for all
sisters,
our
for all our
brothers and
brothers and
sisters,
for the goose and the
sisters,
crow,
for the goose and the
and the
for all
crow,
crow,
humanity.
for all
for all
humanity.
That we
humanity.
wish
It is this that we
Is
wish
this
ourselves,
that we
for
wish
for our friends
ourselves,
for
and
for
family,
our
ourselves,
friends and
for our
for
family,
all
friends
our
and
for
sisters
all
and
family,
our
brothers,
siblings,
all our
for
goose and
siblings,
the
goose and the
crow,
crow,
for the goose and the
for
crow,
all
for all
humanity.
for
humanity.
all
May it be so.
humanity.
May it be so.
May it
May
be
it be
so.
so.
Ghost, may you never be hungry.
Goose, may
Goose,
you
Goose, may you
never
never
be
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 hungry.
May you
hungry.
hungry.
never be thirsty.
Goose,
Goose,
may
may
you
you
never be
never be
Never be
thirsty.
May
thirsty.
your
thirsty.
spirit fly free.
Goose, may your
Goose, may your
May
spirit
your
spirit
fly
spirit
fly
fly
free.
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 So she does, my
So
brothers,
So
my
she
she
sisters. Thank you all
does.
does.
for
Yay.
being part of this. I'm going to testify an example. An example. Yeah. Yeah. Dear, no. Pass it on. Pass it on. Money cake. Money cake. Well, am I doing the hat?
You're doing. I'll do.
Would
Do one.
Would you? I couldn't handle it. I couldn't trust myself.
Thank you, Andy.
You'd go missing.
We've got two notices. One is that this pirate's hat will be passing amongst you in the guise of a collection box. And if you would care to part with a few p of your hard earns to support the vigil, that would be very much appreciated. My other request, this is a kind of a request and an invite. There are two cakes here ready for eating because it is John Crow's birthday. It's me on 3, 4. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you. Brilliant, John.
I should say my birthday was yesterday. Oh, bless. So I was born on Mary Magdalene's feast day.
Perfect.
I like to think I was born into her tribe. It makes me feel like I've lived the life I was meant to.
Of course I do.
That's all right. You do your thing. Bye.
Thank you, Andy.
Coming. Come back.
I will. It's the emergency exit.
Yes.
I don't know if Andy's going to say goodbye or
Thank
whether
you
we'll
very much.
just.
I promise you I'm not going to run off. Not today, I'm too old. Thank you.
I've muted Andy. I wondered, have people here got any offerings that they would like to make? Beth's got something. Did you want to read your poem out, Beth? Or shall I just play your music?
If you could play the music first, and then it gives me the opportunity to find
Yes,
the
I
poem.
can do. Oh, they're showing us the Crossbones gin. Did you see? It's lovely.
Somebody was glugging that back right and good and proper.
They're having a glug. Has anybody on Facebook got anything they want to offer? Otherwise, I've got some music that Beth made that I'll play, and then Beth's got a poem, and then we'll play Frank Turner, and then we'll end. But they're having
I love a bit of Frank Turner.
We always end with a bit of Frank Turner. They're having a lovely time at the gates. Look.
I know,
Oh,
it's
look,
fab,
that's
isn't
Red
it?
Cross Mary.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's have a little. There you go. Right then.
I found it.
Don't know if Andy. Do you want to read it now? And then I'll play the music. I'm
Actually,
happy to
it
do it
works
either
that way round. I really hope you play Northern Sky. It's one of my favourite songs. And before I do, I'll show you the T-shirt. Oh, if I can get it out. I'm not bringing it to my parents because I think it would be quite controversial. But I thought it was quite appropriate for
Oh, I can spotlight you then.
a Crossbones venture. So it says, I run on whimsy and feminist rage.
Hey.
There's a very cute little deer with a rainbow and those
Absolutely
words in
brilliant.
red.
Lovely.
Quite
So,
right too, Beth.
Yes,
I'm not going to wear it at my parents, but I thought it was appropriate. So the reason why I didn't feel comfortable sharing this poem is actually it's out of a similar kind of situation. I wrote it just before I went to France after a very big disagreement in the new LGBT group that's set up in Cheshunt. And I'm really proud of this poem. I've had a tradition over the past couple of years where I've ended up writing a poem just before my birthday and have read it out at Blessing in Bards. But I thought without the context, this poem doesn't really as translate over as the one that B very kindly read for me. So it's called How to Go Gently. And that's kind of an intention I was thinking about before I turned 40 last week. So here we go. I hereby tender my resignation, abdicate my post as sole custodian of this so-called middle ground, albeit not very high. Maybe an isolated island only reachable once in a blue moon, or when the swirl outpaces the crescent somewhere up the stream. I surrender my loyalty to the logic of my 30s being a gateway to some spoke box professionalism, rugged individualism, partaker of capitalism, futile consumerism, to jadedness as markers of success. May I breathe deeply into this new frontier, may the roundedness of the four in this distillation of autonomy bring me home. A square in a square hole, or one that fits me, an inner world instead of a burden to carry. May I soften the synergy and connection of betwixt and between as above and below, of children and career and all the things I've missed, of community and the joys and perils of being in space together and nurture and coexist. May I know that them treading on eggshells is not a me problem, but a them learning in boundaries, where access has been assumed, particularly in unconsensual co-regulation, mental load and picking up after people. May I know my peace, no longer needing to convince and just receive myself to exist. I didn't ask to be at this busy crossroads while simultaneously bearing the weight of erasure, cycling through the too much, not enough, Ouroboros feedback loop. For too long, my lighthouse beam has been shining outwards instead of illuminating my own halls, and yet my obtuse angle self persists, rectangular in my hourglass. Stubbornness is a hardcore survival strategy, assertiveness a shield, policing your borders seeming necessary when self-surveillance is a part of the social contract. I never agreed to the T's and C's. As a remedy, I want to relearn how to frolic, take pride in my whimsy, delight in the fun tentacles, accept my resting nice girl face is indeed a strength, feel at home in my body, hair and all. It is where it belongs, everywhere. My very existence is your and, a splash of rainbow amidst your black and white. May the both be valuable, the furore over separateness being stewarded and fought for as a wider us, they nouns, if you will. May the disabled community become a first thought instead of an after, and that it include me. May I be brave, may I flourish. The indelible carving of soft impact on a landscape is the rewilding of a busy beaver. Diverse beauty outpouring, Lee. May I surround myself with the frivolous. May the things I have long carried become the cloak of discomfort, my superpower of a legacy, hope.
Yay, beautiful. I love the bit about relearning how to frolic. Beautiful, thank you.
No,
Thank you
I
for-
just want to say it was so powerful that I was just, I don't know you very well at all, Beth. We've encountered each other on Crossbones a couple of times and a little bit in the plump, but that is just such a strong advocation of your right on all your terms, to be who you are and celebrate it, and not be kind of pigeonholed and pushed into being and having to, anyway, all of that. I thought it was really powerful, and I really like the fact, like Jackie was saying, about kind of whimsy and your right to frolic. It's just, yeah, absolutely on point, because
Thank
otherwise
you.
life becomes relentlessly adversarial, and we have to celebrate as well. We have to have that joy. So well done, you.
Debbie and John on Facebook say beautiful words, and that was lovely. And Kaz says that was brilliant and straight from the heart. And Claire says very powerful. Thanks for sharing. Do you want me to play you a bit of music now, Beth? Beth's done some music, which she would have liked me to share at Blessings and Bards, but there wasn't a way to
So
share electronic music. So
it's not me who's written this.
no, but
It's
you made yeah.
a beautiful song by the Wellerman, and it's a song they actually wrote called Northern Sky. And me and my friend Mike recorded 5 songs and 4 poems when I was up there in January. So we're working towards an album that kind of represents the transition into 40 with the theme How to Go Gently. And why the song is particularly beautiful is it's talking about an island called Colonsay, which is one of the Scottish islands, and I really want to do a Highlands and Islands tour just to capture the kind of music and relationship. So it's a cappella, so I hope that I hope it sounds okay. But yeah, it's starting to actually claim my voice for myself.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. So here it is. Hopefully, if there's a problem with the sound, let me know. And I'll just say I am having a bit of trouble with my computer and it keeps freezing for me. So if I seem not to be doing the thing that I've said I'll do, it's because I can't move my mouse. But it's all right at the moment. So let's listen. If you can't hear it, let me know.
I used to be a simple man. Thought I had all I'd ever need. A drink at the bar, a guitar in my hand. The sirens call me to the sea. I may be gone, but my heart never leaves the island of my dreams. Underneath the northern sky, shimmering green and thunderlight, set across we're heading west, back home to the land I love the best. Look for me upon the tide, billow and breeze that on our side. Better poor boys all away, back homeward again, to the last that I left on Colonsay. I fell in love without a plan. Her heart was gold, her soul was fire. The hands were laughing as we danced. Her name was Josie McIntyre. It's been so long since I took to the sea. Is she waiting there for me? Underneath the northern sky, shimmering green and thunderlight, set a course we're heading west, back home to the land I love the best. Look for me upon the tide, billow and breeze, they're on our side. Better poor boys all away, back homeward again, to the last that I left on Colonsay. I've seen the world in far lands, from China seas to Mexico, the Southern Cross and velvet sands, but only one place feels like home. On Colonsay, I'll settle down, no more to race the rolling sea. I'll make a sailcloth wedding gown if Josie were to marry me. Underneath the northern sky, shimmering green and thunderlight, set a course, we're heading west, back home to the land I love the best. Look for me upon the tide, below and breeze there on our side. Better put boys all the way back homeward again. I know that she's watching over the bay, the last that I left on Colonsay.
Beautiful, thank you. I think that sense of belonging is very appropriate to Crossbones. So thank you for that. Thank you. Shall I play Frank Turner? I think this has been the longest vigil we've ever had, so, which is really beautiful. Shall I play Frank Turner and then we can end? And those of us who are in the Wild Goose group can then regather for our little party that we're having.
I was going to say many congratulations and happy birthday. I won't be joining you, but it's really, really cool.
Thank you for being part of the group. Let's have some Frank Turner. Let me find my video. I've got it here.
Sorry, I just had to nip off then. I came.
Oh, that's all right.
And then I came back. But that, you know, I really appreciated that as well, Beth. So
Claire says that was
lovely to hear that.
awesome. Yeah, it was beautiful. Claire says that was awesome. Let's have this is our traditional ending on the Zoom vigils. John says, well done. It was great, wasn't it? Beautiful.
This song is kind of a Christmas song. I wish it was about the 23rd of November instead. I should have done my research more.
You can always come back next month.
I certainly will. They buried my body on Christmas in the ground by the South River bank. Worked to my death, for my very last breath, I'd the Winchester bishops to thank. Now the church held the keys to the brothel, lit the window with a burning red light, while I teased the funds with the pockets of John's. The bishop got rich in the night. I didn't fall apart through my years in the dark. For my lover I guarded my pure, pure heart. And he meets me in the graveyard where they made my bed. Plants a white flower under cold stars on the graves of the forgotten dead. Now the bishop snuck off to fresh pastures, while my grave was grown over with weeds. No burial plots, just some forget-me-nots for the women they branded unclean. And the wasteland, it was claimed by the city. They covered it with tenement slums, for where we'd been left had never been blessed, and they dug down and built on our bones. But every December with frost on his fingers, my lover returns, for he still remembers. To me in the graveyard where they made my bed. Plants a white flower under cold stars on the graves of the forgotten dead. It's London town on Christmas Eve. My lover still wanders bereft and bereaved, but he can't find the woman that he promised he'd meet. The sun comes up on the cold, cold ground. It's Christmas morning in London town. He lays on my grave and he cradles his head as he hears the church bells. He knows that I'm dead. Also, London, don't mourn for your lovers. Raise a glass for us glorious dead. For beneath Southwark streets we outlasted the priests, and the city's raised up on our beds. Though we're gone, London, do not forget to meet us on Christmas in the graveyard where they made our bed. Plant a white flower under cold stars on the graves of the forgotten dead. Won't you meet us on Christmas in the graveyard where they made our bed? Plant a white flower under cold stars on the graves of the forgotten dead. In the graveyard of the outcast dead. There it is.
Yay, there we go. We've made it. Oh, thank you, Beth. Do let us know. Beth says, I'll keep you in the loop, read the album. Going to do a collage for the album. Oh, I love a collage. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here. It's been absolutely lovely. Ruth says, love, love, love. Definitely. Thank you for being here, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording. Bye-bye, recording. Thank you for being here for the Isis Magdalene Festival at Crossbones Graveyard. We will be back on the 23rd of August, of course. That was a good one, wasn't it, John? We always finish with that one on the Zoom vigils. If you want to come to the plump party, that will be in about 10 minutes, I should think, when I've caught my breath. Otherwise, I will see you soon. Ruth, are you going to come to the party? I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, is it the same link? Is it
No,
this link?
it's a different link. This is just the Crossbones link. I don't use this one for other
I can't remember. You sent me the Crossbones
It's
one.
on the it's on the same email.
Oh, it's on the same. I just.
Yeah, it's just further down.
I'll try it.
Thank
I'll
you
try
very
and
much.
pop in for a
Thank you,
quick.
Beth.
Hello.
Yes, come
I'm
and
in
say hello,
Folkestone on
Ruth.
Sunday, so
Fabulous. I might be there. I've twisted my knee, so I don't know if I'm going to
oh
go down,
bless
but
you.
I will try to go down. So, bye bye, Facebook.
Bye. See you in a bit. Bye.
See you in a bit. Bye.